Okay, this is the Gardner Board of Health meeting. It's Monday, January 22nd. The meeting comes to order at 4:44, and we're in the Mayor's Conference Room at City Hall. First item on the agenda is approved minutes from December 4th, 2023. And actually, I don't believe we can approve them because the only member here that was present at this meeting is myself. Dr. Parker's not here, so we'll have to do this next meeting.
Okay.
And the next item on the agenda is the Holy Family Academy, which I believe is
That got resolved.
resolved.
Just
So,
removed after the minutes were posted.
okay. So, next item on the agenda is LUA, and I actually don't know what LUA means.
Local upgrade approval.
Okay, local upgrade approval for 128 Wampanoag Road South. So do you want to give us a little briefing as to what's going on, and then?
Sure, yeah. So the perk test for this lot ran extremely fast, so it requires an extra foot of depth for the depth of the system. So they are proposing some alternative technologies that have been approved for use in Massachusetts. So they're asking for a variance to reduce that distance to 4 feet instead of 5 feet because they're using this alternative technology. It's called a geomat system. So I'll let him kind of explain
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
how that works.
Do you want to just state your name and where you work?
So, good evening, Brandon Ducharme with David Ross here on behalf of Robert and Shirley LaPierre. They're the owners and applicants, and they own 128 Wampanoag South Road. They have an existing 2-bedroom house here. This is the gravel road, which is Wampanoag South Road. There's an existing gravel driveway that comes down to the house. We were tasked with getting a Title V system on the property. As it stands now, there's only an existing outhouse, so there's no feasible or usable septic system. Some of the challenges with the site, it's about a half-acre site. This, as I said, this is the road, and the topography kind of falls away going downhill towards, this is Lake Wampanoag here. There's an intermittent stream with a wetland. The limit of the wetland is marked here in the green, and with that there's a corresponding 100-foot buffer zone which encompasses the balance, or pretty much all of the property. It's just this small corner of the lot that's outside the 100-foot buffer. So we went out, we focused on this area to get as far as the wetlands that we could. We did a deep hole and a perk test, 2 deep holes and a perk test here. Went back and looked at fitting a septic system up in this area. Given the constraints of the size of the site and trying to get as far from that wetland, when we looked at a layout using a conventional pipe and stone trench system or bed system, due to the estimated seasonal high groundwater, the modeling, and again, because the perk was good, the 2-minute perk, there's a 5-foot requirement from the estimated seasonal high groundwater to the bottom of that septic system. And when we looked at that, we did conventional breakout grading. The grading would have went off the lot into the road and kind of off on this neighboring property. The only way it could have been kind of contained in this, they would have had to use retaining walls all around the system. So what we looked at, this is a geomat system, which is a aggregate-free. It's basically, there's no stone. It's a geomat, which is essentially what it says. It's about 39-inch wide by 2.5-inch bed that they roll out, and that is all encased in a sand bed, similar to like a Presby system, same type of sand material that's required to surround that system. And what the geomat allows us to do is if we pressure dose that system, so we'll have there's going to be it's higher in elevation anyway, so we come out to a traditional septic tank, we're going to have a pump dosing chamber, and then the force main will come up to a manifold. It'll pressurize this system, which gives it kind of even distribution throughout the bed. In using this through Mass DEP, their approval allows you to, instead of doing conventional 15-foot offset to where you do your 3-on-1 breakout, you can go over 2 feet, and then at that point do your 3-to-1. So if we combine that with the local upgrade approval, which is that reduction in that 1 foot to that offset, we were able to kind of fit this system in and keep the grading on the lot there. So part of this approval is we're looking to get that local upgrade variance or that relief for that, as well as there currently isn't a drilled true well on the property, so we're looking to add a proposed well. And again, looking at your well requirements, you know, this would be the 100-foot offset, because obviously we want to be 100 feet from the leaching area, just based on where the existing house is. We situated the well here just behind the house. We're able to get the sideline offset, but we're also asking for a local variance for the separation from a wetland, which the requirement is 50 feet, and as shown here, we're 25 feet.
Separation from what?
From the well to a wetland. In this case, it's a bordering.
Oh, wetland. Good.
So both the septic and the well upgrades.
Correct, yep.
So your feeling is that system would be as effective as if you had to build it up with retaining walls and everything like that? Or?
Yeah, I mean, with the alternative technology, I mean, it's a pretty good filtering system, you know. Not to mention, just by pressurizing that system, you get even distribution over the entirety of the field. So everything kind of goes into these mats, and then, like I said, it's encased in that C33 sand, which kind of acts as more of a wicking as opposed to a draining field. So, you know, we've used these on a number of sites, especially some more challenging sites, but we've also used them on new construction, just giving some of the benefits to what they provide.
And what about the neighbor on that side over there?
So the applicant is actually, he lives here, and he's purchased this abutting parcel probably over a year ago, and that's what he's bringing this to compliance, as I kind of mentioned.
But just assuming that at some point he sells that other property to a third party, what do we have for a layout in terms of the well on that side and everything?
Yeah, so right now the existing well for this house is here in the back. So we've got, you know, well over 100 feet, 100-foot separation. So in terms of Title V and the local code, there's, you know, more than the minimum requirements for that. And his existing septic is also kind of up in this area in here. So
This house has no well at this point, or?
no, I believe it just draws off the lake, believe it or not. So it's not a potable source. So that's really, in purchasing this property, the two things you have to do is get a potable water supply, as well as come up with a Title V system that can treat the septic.
And conservation lines, and you haven't been with conservation, met with conservation?
Not yet at this point, no.
Okay, so obviously anything we approve would have to be approved by conservation too.
Yes, so we've got the notice of intent all prepared, and we're hoping to file that tomorrow to get before them, to get all these approvals in place so that when spring or early summer comes around, that they can do the work, that they'll get these improvements done.
So you're saying conventional system in compliance is possible, but much more costly, in other words? So.
Yeah, I mean, the only way, with a 5-foot offset, retaining walls and pretty much encasing the entire system.
Mike, you looked it over, do you have any concerns about?
No, I looked the plan over, went through my checklist, and I didn't find any concerns or issues. I feel like this system, it's really good at how uniform it spreads out the septage. It's very effective at doing that, so it works for what they're trying to do.
And what about in terms of the well, and, I mean, would there be any possible effect on the wetland or the wetland on the well, I guess, in terms of its location being so close to that corner down there?
I don't know exactly, I don't think so, because it's just filtering through the ground into the well. And as long as it's built to plumbing codes, there shouldn't be any kind of back siphoning from the house into the well or anything like that. And yeah, I personally don't see any issues with that. I'm going to be talking to conservation tomorrow just to make sure I know what his concerns are. But as far as I go, I have no issues with that.
In terms of the well, one thing I could add too is, sometimes, with wells in close proximity to wetlands, the questions come, is there drawdown, or is there potential for, drawing off hydrology that could be associated with that wetland? In this case, we're proposing a drilled well, so I don't know the exact depth of the abutting well, but we're looking to go probably several hundred feet down to an aquifer. So it's not drawing off of anything. It's not a shallow point well, which there could be more concerns with that. We're looking at a drilled bedrock well, which is kind of a sealed casing all the way up. So you're drawing off an aquifer well below grade as opposed to anything remotely near the surface.
Right.
Do we have paperwork for the well? I'm just trying to...
I don't believe we did get any paperwork as far as the well goes.
So I think most of all of this is relating to the
We don't
septic.
Yeah, so they had to fill out all that because it is the Title V
Right.
forms. But since we're the permitting authority for the wells,
Do we
we
need...
don't really have anything in place for that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two things. In terms of local upgrade approval, what that is it's relief that they allow to repair situations, we're not increasing flow, to get relief from Title V requirements.
Right.
The well variance that we're asking for is just from your local
Right. And what is
regulations.
Yeah.
the offset, did you say?
So 50 feet is what's required, and
Right.
we're at like 25 feet.
25?
Yeah. So, and there's obviously a note on the plan identifying the need for that variance.
And I'm assuming, does conservation have any say in that in terms of the approval of the
Yes,
location?
it's on
Because,
here.
As far as where the well goes,
yeah, in proximity to that wetland,
I would actually have to look into that. I don't really know off the top of my head, but
because I feel like to some extent, some of that is a little bit beyond my area of expertise, and I would be relying on your opinion on that. I guess, and if we were to grant the variance for the location of the well, I would want it conditioned, I guess, upon it being a deep well as well, that you're definitely going to be, deep enough that you're not going to have any chance of affecting the wetland or anything like that. So
yeah, we could definitely make that condition on conservation commission or conservation approval that we would hold on to one permit until they give their heads up, thumbs up.
In terms of the Well Protection Act, there's actually a provision in there pertaining to the upgrade of septic systems. Where it's certainly subject to their review, and they could weigh in. If there was an alternative location that maybe got outside or got further, provided that they can't really request something that would be a detriment to the health, I guess is what it comes down to, and that's why that's in there. So, you know, first and foremost, the objective is to meet the health requirements. But we'll certainly be discussing that and demonstrating that, you know, if there was a way we could meet that, we would.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, no, I can see what you're working
Yeah.
on there, so. Anything else, Susan?
No,
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the variance for the 4-foot offset with that particular system. And for the location of the well, and again, that being subject to it being a deep hole well that, you know, I guess we want to involve
and
conservation that in their estimation it wouldn't affect the wetlands. Is that
I will.
part of the motion or part of what we're approving?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can do that.
And I'll second that.
Okay.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the local upgrade is granted. But
Thank you very much.
and you're gonna make the intent, file the intent with conservation?
Yes, yeah, but all this is subject because
Right.
we can't do work within
Right,
any of this.
yeah,
without
because it is
their
so
approval.
close.
So we'll need to get an order of conditions, and that'll need to get recorded in the registry, and we can begin work at that point.
Okay.
So, all right.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patience.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry about being late.
Okay, next item on the agenda is old business.
All right, so let's go down my list of dates here. For old business at the landfill, we've completed the erosion control project, the pump cleaning project, all the brush and yard waste grinding has been done. So we're just working on the next phase, which would be some plans to improve the drainage of the transfer station, as well as hopefully the facilities.
Structure,
So, just need some more permanent stuff there. We're also looking at costs for curbside recycling, so we're most likely gonna have to raise the costs to keep up with our costs. And try to get people to move more into the pay-as-you-throw bags rather than an additional toter, to try and reduce waste. For housing, the house on Nickel Street that was, we were waiting on the roof repairs, that roof finally did get repaired about a week and a half ago. So now we're just working on the rest of the order, which is all the conditions inside that came about from the leak. The church rectory at 166 Cross Street that we had condemned because it was being used as a congregate living facility. We went back in with the building departments, confirmed that they've taken out any mattresses, furniture, everything was taken out. And they requested that we allow them to use the first floor for Sunday school, so we agreed to do that. And if they want to do anything else, they're going to have to go through all the steps with the building departments, get the permits, and go through all the proper steps to continue
And
restoring it.
they relocated all of those families.
They did successfully relocate everybody. So everyone's accounted for.
Did they say if their intent is to continue looking at having temporary housing there, or?
No, I think right now they kind of understood from the building department that it needs to be either restored to kind of a rectory, or they need to go through the steps to get it to become something else like a shelter.
Right.
Anything else, if they wanted to go about that route. So we did have another condemnation. There was a small fire in an apartment on Connaught Street. That also revealed kind of a hoarding situation. So the occupant agreed to let us in and Angela was the one who actually was there for that, determined that it needed to be condemned. He was relocated to the Motel 6. And then further from that on to like living in a rehab type situation. So he is housed and they are working on fixing all the issues from the fire. I'm talking to somebody, Assistant Attorney General, as far as finding some houses that would be good candidates for receivership in town. So we have a few houses that they're gonna come out, take a look at, see if they would be eligible for their program, which is the Abandoned Housing Initiative, where they can take a house that's been abandoned, get it into a receivership, and then try to get it back into the housing market eventually. So we're coming up with a list of maybe 3 to 5 houses for now for them to work on, see how that goes, and then keep adding more if we get some success there. The former J2 is now reopened as 4-season Chinese cuisine. There should be a Latin market on the corner here of Parker Street. Should be open as soon as they get an occupancy permit.
They're not open yet?
They had some issues with accessibility and building departments. So they, as far as I know, they don't have a certificate.
They were open though, right?
I thought they
That
were.
might have changed, so
Yeah.
I mean,
they may be open, they might have gotten it.
Okay.
So we did issue their food permit. And then Crown Fried Chicken, we had closed them at the beginning of the month because they had not submitted any application materials for a new food permit. So since they were operating without, we decided to close them down until they did that, which they did. So they were reopened. And we're still in the process of training our new housing inspector, Anthony. So it's going to take a few months to get up to speed. Angela finished her Title V system inspector and soil evaluator trainings, so she can also do septic systems
That's
now.
great. That's great.
And then I finally got my lead determinator certification, so
Good.
that was my update.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. That is all I have for old and new business.
Oh, that's new business too.
I
Okay.
combined them.
Yep. Anything else going on? I know we talked about, you did make a connection with
Oh, yeah.
the migrant, or, I know, what's the correct term?
I would just call it
The shelter.
shelter here.
That we have in Gardner, and it's supervised, all their provisions and care are supervised by Mark, but we have no communication with them. So, I mean, we're certainly grateful that they're providing the services, and we don't have to go out, because it came up in a emergency management Region 2 preparedness meeting. Some communities are really doing everything from trying to find resources for the shelters. But we are fortunate that we have Mark overseeing the shelter in Gardner, and I believe Westminster. But you did finally make contact with their liaison or supervisor? Or?
Yeah, I guess the site supervisor. So the main issues that he was working on, the hotel still has a little bit of trash buildup, so we'll be in contact with them about that. And right now they're getting meals catered in, but it seems like with their, it's different from what they have been normally eating. So the people in the shelter are looking for more means to make their own food, which is kind of problematic
Right, there's no
with the
facility.
situation they're in. So
This-
looking for some solutions there, but there's not a good one out there at the moment. So
in the trash, are we picking up the trash, or do they have dumpsters?
They have dumpsters, they
So
have
they-
contracts.
So they just need to increase
Yeah,
the
they just need
removal.
to come more often, so we are working with them on that.
Well, at least you have, contact with someone if there's issues going on. Make sure that if there's any other resources we have,
Yeah,
we can
and
provide.
the only other major thing is just transportation, since they have things going on in Pittsburgh, and Leominster, they have
Right.
appointments they have to get to. With public transportation being free for the next 6 months, that may help a little bit with the smart mart. But that's something that they're still trying to do in this. And nothing really health department specific for us to work on at the moment, so.
Well, I'm glad that you have this open dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Any other issues? Anything?
That's all I've got for
Okay.
now.
Well, then let's set the next meeting. February, I think the vacation week is the 19th,
Right.
so it would be the 26th maybe?
Yeah,
Does that work for you?
yeah, it looks good.
And I think Brandy will usually send out a date reminder, but I'll remind Shelley also, I'll let her know. So the next meeting will be February 26th at 4:30. Okay? Motion
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second it, all in favor?
Aye.
And meeting is adjourned at 5:11 PM. All right, let me just tell Shelley now.